Hey, what's good, everybody? I'd like to welcome you all to a brand new episode of the Boombox Guru. I'm your host, LB, and today's show we're going to be doing part two of my album's ranking of Eminem. So the first video, part one, I focused on basically the first 10 years from 1999 to 2009. So in this video, we're going to be focusing on the years or decade from 2010 to 2020. And like I said in my previous video, I think that this one is going to be the most interesting one. And honestly, I think I'm probably going to have more fun doing doing this one because this period in Eminem's career is interesting. So to say the least. And let's get right into it. I'm not gonna hold you guys any longer. So I got 6 CDs here, and we're gonna go ahead and start with number 6. And this is probably an obvious one for obvious reasons, but coming in at number 6 is Revival, uh, released in 2016. Yeah, this is Revival, released in 2016. All right, so this album, it really polarized a lot of fans because it was such a huge departure from what we normally expect from Eminem. Basically, Eminem went into a whole pop rap direction with this record. He took pop rap and he blended it with I guess like some political hip hop. Basically, this whole album was coming off that freestyle he did. I think was it at the BET Hip Hop Awards or the Hip Hop Awards. I forget which one. It was one of those hip hop awards where he did a freestyle, and in that freestyle he was taking a lot of shots at Donald Trump, and the Trump administration, and a lot of that went into this record. Basically, this record is basically inspired by Eminem's critique on the Trump administration and such. But the sound is just pop, man. It's like total pop music, man. And I don't know. I don't hate the record, but I definitely don't listen to it a whole lot. Now there are some songs on here that I do enjoy. I like the lead single "Walk on Water" featuring Beyonce. I actually thought that was a pretty cool song. It's catchy. I especially like the Beyonce's part that she played in the hook of the song, and I also like the whole approach where Eminem is rhyming over a song with no drum beat. I thought that was really cool. Uh, Chloroseptic, which was another one of the singles featuring a Foot Fresher. I thought that was a pretty dope song. I liked the beat. I thought Eminem came pretty solid lyrically on that record. Uh, let's see, Bad Husband featuring X Ambassadors. I mean, yeah, it's one of the more radio friendly, poppier songs, but I really dug how Eminem made a song where he was apologizing to his ex-wife Kim about all the stuff that he said about her on his records and so forth, as well as acknowledging, why their relationship could never work and things of that nature. And let's see, track number 12 called Framed. That's another one I really did. I would say that's probably the best song on the album, and one of the songs that is more closely to Eminem style because it has a bit of sort of like a horrorcore vibe to it. And wait a minute, there's another song on here I like. Dang, which one is it? Is it In Your Head? Maybe some of you in the comments can let me know. But there's a song on this album where he sampled the song called Zombies by the Cranberries. He sampled the song called Zombies. I think it's track 17, In Your Head. Yeah, I think it's track 17, In Your Head. I liked it that too. I thought that was dope how they utilized that sample of the Cranberry song. I thought that was and the beat was pretty cool too. Kind of a boom bapish vibe. And I somewhat liked the song called Remind Me where they sampled the Joan Jett and the Heartbreakers. I love rock and roll. It's a pretty decent track. But and these are songs that I kind of picked up on, that some positives that I kind of picked up on as I went back and re-listened to the record. But for the most part, man, Revival isn't an album that I really go to a lot. Even when I'm on an Eminem kick, it's usually the one that I skip. There are moments where I will sit back and I will listen to the album as a whole, and kind of kind of feel it. But for the most part, man, I just didn't really like the whole pop direction, man. It just seems so out of the norm with Eminem, and maybe that's what he wanted to do. He wanted to do something totally different, but I don't think it really translated very well with the fans. I mean Eminem doing collaborating with all these pop artists and stuff like that. It just seemed odd to me because he made such a name for himself in the past, making fun of these people, and now it's like he's like in bed with these people now. But yeah, I kind of see what he was trying to do with the whole more radio accessible sound. I guess he was trying to reach more people. He was also trying to present sort of like an anthemic type hopeful message throughout the album. Uh but sometimes it just comes off a little bit cringy, like the song Like Home featuring Alicia Keys, man. It's just really cringy, man. And then the River song with Ed Sheeran, and I don't know, man. There's just a lot on here not to really enjoy about the record. It has its few moments, but just not enough to make me want to really give it a lot of replay value. So, yeah, coming at number 6 is Revival by Eminem, released in 2016. All right. So, number 5, and I was thinking about this while I was at work, so I decided to kind of switch this one and put this one in the number 5 place. But I went with Kamikaze, released in 2018. All right, so this came out 2 years after Revival. So basically, Kamikaze was Eminem's response to all the backlash and criticism he got for Revival, and he dropped this album as a surprise. I think he dropped it like around, I think it was like around December. Yeah, it was around December of 2018 when he dropped this, and it came out of nowhere. It was a surprise drop. I mean, the single Fall came out, and that caught a lot of waves because he openly responded to Lord Jamar, who had really been critical of Eminem for like what 5-6 years at that point. So he openly responded to him, and that really got a lot of attention. But I do like Kamikaze a lot more than I like Revival. I think that this was somewhat more of a stronger effort than Revival, because I like how he was back on his more hardcore rap vibe. The opening song, The Ringer, man, that's one of my favorite songs on this record. I listen to it quite often because the way he was he didn't hold back. He didn't waste any time. Soon as that beat drops in, he just starts going in on a good majority of the people that he's angry at or the people that's been critical of him. I also dug The Greatest, track number 2, especially the second verse where he responds to D Antwoord. I don't know if you guys are familiar with D Antwoord. They're a South African hip hop / alternative like rave dance type group. But on Revival, there was a song on Revival where Eminem kind of gave them a shout out, but he mispronounced their name. And I don't know if he did it by mistake or he intentionally did it for the rhyme scheme. But anyway, D Antwoord, they took offense to that, and they made a whole video like mocking Eminem and making fun of him about that, about mispronouncing their name and such. So he responded back to them on that song. I thought it was funny, man, but especially when he brought up the fact that when DJ Muggs was involved with that group, how he ended up smashing the woman in the group, Yolanda, because her and the guy Ninja, they were a couple. They actually have a kid together. I think they were like an on and off couple. And DJ Muggs, when he was working with them, he ended up getting involved with her and smashing her. I just thought it was funny how Eminem brought up like, you let your girl get effed by Muggs and everything like that. But aside from that fact, man, the beat and the way that Eminem like delivers the whole wordplay and rhyme scheme on there, it's just killer, man. Then we'll see Lucky You by Joyner Lucas was a dope song. The way that him and Joyner Lucas both do that double time, just amazing. Let's see here. Not a Light featuring Royce da 5'9" is another dope one. Anytime Eminem collaborates with Royce, it just, M is gonna bring his A game. It's just something about when him and Royce collaborate, M is gonna come with everything he's got. And this was the song that sparked the response Rap Devil from MGK. Yeah, because the beat switches during Eminem's verse where he really just kind of starts going in on Eminem. This really kind of aggressive, raw trap beat just comes in on that part, and Eminem just really starts going in on MGK. Let's see. I already talked about The Fall. Let's see. Kamikaze, the title track, is pretty cool. So what I don't like about this album is that I feel that Eminem had a chance to be a lot more consistent with this record, and he kind of dropped the ball with songs like Normal, or I forgot to mention Stepping Stone, where he pretty much confirms the breakup of D12. I thought that was pretty cool too. But anyway, going back to what I was saying, Normal, kind of like a song about a toxic relationship, or how he wants a normal relationship. It's got a pretty cool beat, but I don't really feel the song that much. And then you have the tracks Nice Guy and Good Guy, both featuring Jesse Reyes. I don't really care for the Nice Guy song. It's got this kind of bombastic type beat, and the hook is kind of cringy at most. I do like Good Guy a lot better. I prefer that song a lot better, but still it doesn't really keep in line with the theme of the record. And then you have the song Venom that ends the album, which was a song that was used in the movie Venom. And honestly, I don't think that was the best song to pick to end this album. I think Eminem should have went with another song and maybe use Venom as a bonus track, or maybe just not use it at all and let that be an exclusive song to the movie. But it's just that by the time that this album came out, everybody had heard that song so much in the trailers for that movie Venom that it was pretty much kind of played out by the time the record was released. But even though I think that this album is definitely more of a stronger effort than Revival, I still think that Eminem dropped the ball as far as making it a more consistent record that really could have been a solid album had he just stuck with the whole revenge theme of him responding back to his critics. And I'm not saying that every song had to be a diss track towards everybody, but just him keeping that harder edge throughout the whole entire album, that would have been a lot better. I think that would have fared a lot better and made this a more better record in a nutshell. So yeah, number 5, we got Kamikaze. All right, so the next album we got is Music to Be Murdered By. This is Eminem's most recent solo album, and I got two versions. I got the standard version right here, and I also got the deluxe, the side B, which is pretty much just a deluxe version of this album. It comes with a bonus disc, which is side B. So since this one is the one that's got both discs, I'm just gonna keep this one up. All right, so I think that this album was a bit more of a stronger effort than Kamikaze. I think that Eminem had a lot more consistency with this record, specifically the side A part, Music to Be Murdered By, because I was looking at the credits on Genius, and I seen where Royce da 5'9" had a lot of involvement in the production, as whereas the non-Porter, aka Mr. Porter, aka Con Artist from D12, and a few other producers who I'm not that familiar with. But the record has much more of a cohesiveness to it than the two previous albums, and I think that it's a little bit more interesting. I like Eminem's lyrical delivery, his flow, because he sounds like Eminem. Yes, he's rapping on more modern trap beats again, but he sounds like Eminem. And I also like the double time flow that he's using on a lot of these songs as well. My problem is that even though I think that Music to Be Murdered By is a bit more of a consistent album, I feel that Eminem keeps dropping the ball when he tries to go into these pop rap directions and make these club bangers. That's what really irks me, man, when he does that. It's like, you got a really good theme, a really good consistency that you can run with, man. Why are you like messing it up, going with these pop directions, man? Like, what's the song called? Those Kind of Nights with Ed Sheeran, another collaboration with Ed Sheeran. Excuse me. Let's see. yeah, In Too Deep, I believe. Yeah, some type of love story about uh two people having an affair with each other, like him wanting to be with this woman, but he's got a woman, and she wanting to be with him, but she's got a man. Like I just don't like that hook. Like I'm not happy here. I don't like that. Don't like that. And let's see, Leaving Heaven with Skylar Grey. That's Skylar Grey's a frequent collaborator, but that song wasn't too bad. But probably the best song on this one is Ya Ya, featuring Royce the 5'9", Black Thought, Q-Tip, and Denon. It was produced by Mr. Porter, Denon. Q-Tip is on the hook. I wish Q-Tip would have had a verse. But man, Eminem, Royce, and Black Thought, whoo, some killer verses, man. The illest song on this album, man. I mean, the album has this very kind of bombastic boom bap type song. Yeah, like the non really did he really did his thing on there, man. Mr. Porter really did his thing on that track. But that's the best song on the record right there. And it makes you wonder, like, why didn't Eminem just go in that direction, man? He should have had Mr. Porter produce the whole freaking album. Stepdad was pretty interesting. I thought that was like the most Slim Shadyest song on the album, man. He's going in on his stepdad. Marsh was pretty cool. Let's see, Darkness was a pretty interesting track where he's rhyming from the perspective of that Vegas shooter, or that incident that happened in Vegas around this time. Let's see here, and No Regrets featuring Don Toliver. That was a really dope track. You could say it's one of the more radio accessible tracks, but I think compared to the other songs, it's the best one. Then I Will featuring King Crooked, aka Crooked Eye, Royce the 5'9", and Joel Ortiz, another banger, another great posse cut. And like I said, every time Eminem collaborates with Royce, man, he's always gonna bring his A game. Let's see, the song Unaccommodating was pretty cool. I thought Young M.A.'s part was a little lackluster. It was decent, but I think Eminem could have handled that by himself, honestly. The song Godzilla was featured Juice WRLD, R.I.P. to Juice WRLD. That was a pretty solid single to come off the album. But side B, side B is pretty, it's decent, but I feel like Eminem was kind of just honing it in on that side. I don't feel like he was really trying all that hard on that side, and most of that album is pretty much like a trap album. Most of the beats on there are trap. It's more of the trap music flavor, which I have nothing against. I'm a fan of trap music. I listen to it, but it's just that on side B, Eminem really wasn't being Eminem. It kind of felt like he was trying to emulate what the modern trap rappers are doing. And there's also a few songs on here that kind of felt or reminded me of Drake when Drake is like in full rap mode. Kind of reminded me of him in a lot of ways. So I mean, it's got a few songs on there I dig, man. I like Book of Rhymes featuring DJ Premier. Let's see what else. I liked it Guns Blazing featuring Dr. Dre. Nat was pretty cool. Let's see, These Demons, Zeus. Discombobulated is the best song on here. That sounds like Relapse era Eminem. The whole vibe and the way that Eminem delivers on the song, it sounds like Eminem. Compared to the other songs on the album, he doesn't sound like himself on here, but he sounds like himself on that particular song, man. But for the most part, Music to Be Murdered By. I mean, again, this had the potential to be more of a solid record, but again, Eminem always breaks it up by going into these pop club directions, man, these more radio friendly directions, and it's just odd to me for Eminem to do that because I never looked at him as like a radio friendly guy. I'm used to Eminem being the guy making fun of all these people, but it's just kind of weird seeing him court that category or that style, But I think it's stronger compared to the previous two records, Kamikaze and Revival. Definitely Revival. I definitely enjoy this way more than Revival. So, yeah, wait a minute, what number is that? So, 6, 5, 4. 4, I think. Wait a minute. Sorry. Let's see here. Revival was 6. Kamikaze was 5. Oh, I forgot. I got like two. I got two of the same album. So yeah, Kamikaze. Yeah, Revival was 6. Kamikaze was 5. Music to Be Murdered By was 6. Uh, I mean it was 4. Yeah, this is 3. Sade. And so we get into number 2. Sorry about that, guys. But let's keep this thing rolling. All right. So number 2, uh, I went with the Marshall Mathers LP 2. All right. Released in 2013. Yeah, got a used copy of it. All right, so Marshall Mathers LP 2. So of course this album is the sequel to the awesome Marshall Mathers LP 1 that came out back in 2000. So LB, how does this sequel hold up to the original? Honestly, I don't think it holds up very much to the to the original, man. I'm just gonna flat out say it, man. I don't think this album should have been called Marshall Mathers LP 2. Cause the way I look at it, man, when you make a sequel, there's gotta be some type of sort of like a connection to the original in some form or fashion. Not that it's gotta be an exact identical remake or anything like that, but I mean the only connections I found from this album to to the original one was the song called Bad Guy, the first track on the album, which is a sequel to Stan. And I thought this was an interesting song because the song is written from the perspective of Stan's brother, his little brother, and he's out to seek revenge against Eminem because he blamed Eminem for the death of his brother. But I thought that was really cool. And then the song called Headlights, towards the end of the album, one of the last songs, where Eminem actually apologizes to his mother for all the mean stuff that he said about her on all his past records. And I thought that was really cool. I thought it was really cool that he done that. Even though it was entertaining, even though all that stuff that he said on those classic albums was entertaining, the fact that, he decided to make peace with his mother, and he even opens up about the regrets he has for not allowing his daughter to really know her and things of that nature. And from what I can tell, her mental health has really like deteriorated at this point. And this is back in 2013, so this is going on 10 years ago. So who knows what she's like now. But yeah, him talking about how he regrets making the song Cleaning Out My Closet, that he doesn't perform it live anymore, and he cringes when it comes on the radio, and that he apologized to her for airing out all that dirty laundry over his records and stuff like that. For all that stuff that he said, I just thought that was really admirable to come from him, man. It really showed a change in not Eminem, but in Marshall, the man. But other than that, man, there's some good songs on here, man. I like that Rap God, which was one of the singles from the album. I thought that was dope. I think that was the first time I really heard Eminem use that fast double time flow, which I really dug. Let's see, the song called Berserk, which was another single. I initially didn't like that song when it first came out, but within the context of the album, I enjoyed it a bit more. And I forgot to mention that Rick Rubin was also an executive producer on this album along with Dr. Dre. So this record does have sort of that Rick Rubin feel, more of that kind of rap rock vibe, which is Berserker. Berserk is a great example of that. Let's see, Love Game featuring Kendrick Lamar was really dope. And this was when Kendrick was really hot. When he was really hot, man. He was just coming off the heels of a Good Kid, Mad City, and so forth, man. I dug Rhyme or Reason. I liked that beat. There's a few songs on this album. Honestly, if this album hadn't been called Marshall Mathers LP 2, I think that it would have fared a lot better, at least with me. Because for the most part, I think it's a bit more solid than the previous records that I talked about. It definitely sounds more like Eminem. It definitely has more of the Eminem vibe, in my opinion. But it just shouldn't have been called the Marshall Mathers LP 2. It should have been called something else. And had that been the case, I think I would have looked at this album in more of a better light, and probably is more one of his better releases within this decade, man. But Really the only connections I could really see was like the songs "Bad Guy" and "Headlights," and as well as the cover, which shows the house that he took, the Eminem's old house now is boarded up and abandoned, and it's getting ready. Well, I think it was abandoned on the 2000 cover, but this time it's ready for demolition. It's getting ready to get knocked down and everything like that. So that's really about the only connection I see, man. So that's why I put it at number two. I put it at number two because I feel that it's still more in the vein of having that Eminem vibe in itself, man. So yeah, number two, Marshall Mathers LP2. And for number one is none other than Recovery, released in 2010. So this album, in my opinion, this should have been Marshall Mathers LP2, because Eminem took a more personal and introspective direction with this album, similar to Marshall Mathers LP, the first one. Don't get me wrong, that album still had the Slim Shady persona popping in and out all over it, but Eminem talked about a lot more personal things at that time. He was being more introspective about all the stuff that was happening at that moment, with his fame and stuff of that nature. And to me, Recovery is one of his more introspective albums as well, because he talks a lot about, his drug addiction, the hiatus, how he was wanting to just go at other rappers because he was jealous that they were hot at the time and he wasn't. And he even opens up about, Proof's death and so forth. There's just a lot of things that show a growth in Eminem. He was still newly sober at this point, but there's also some hard hitters on here where he kind of goes into that more battle rap mode, like Cinderella Man. There's some funny moments, like White Trash Party, WPT. Then there's some very like kind of somber moments, like Going Through Changes with samples changes by Black Sabbath. I thought Spacebound was pretty cool. I kind of hold that in a similar vein to maybe not Superman, but the whole vibe of that song. It's kind of a disturbing song. It's about like a toxic relationship, and then I think somebody ends up taking a life in the story. But to me, this album showed a growth in Eminem, and that's why I think that it should have been called the Marshall Mathers LP2, because it was more of a reflection of who he was at that moment in his life, and where he was. And I think that's what the Marshall Mathers LP2 failed at really displaying. It didn't really make that connection like that. But this record, it really showed a growth in Eminem and where he was headed. And yes, I can agree that this was the beginning of Eminem going to the more radio-friendly pop rap route, because he started collaborating with more pop artists. The song called "Won't Back Down" features Pink, which I have no issue with Pink. I think Pink is dope, but I just didn't think that particular song on here was all that great. And then of course, the biggest hit from this album is "Love the Way You Lie," featuring Rihanna. Now, I did initially like that song before it was a single, when it was in the context of the record, but once it became a single, I mean, oh man, radio just killed and overplayed the crap out of that song. I mean, you started hearing it in the grocery store. So, it is what it is. Oh, and I forgot. I don't know if y'all remember, but about a few months back, some people tried to cancel Eminem because of that song, the "Love the Way You Lie," because of I forget the line in the song they were trying to cancel him for. Yeah, they were actually trying to cancel him for that song, but the song is about a toxic relationship. But they were trying to cancel him for some lie. I think it was a line where he's alluding to, like, well, if I can't have you, no one can. Something like that. One of those well-known stereotypical abusive lines that most abusers use. But the song is about a toxic relationship. And they were trying to cancel Eminem for that. I probably forgot about that. I just thought about it at this moment. But man, the song "Talking to Myself" featuring Kobe, that's a really dope song as well. "On Fire" is really cool. And so even though this was the beginning of him starting to lean more towards that pop direction, with him collaborating with these pop artists, Um, it's still Eminem in a nutshell. It still has that Eminem sound or vibe. His classic flow, lyrical abilities are still intact and so forth, man. But I would say that Recovery is probably the strongest effort of his solo albums that he put out around this period, man. I think it's the strongest one out of all the ones that I just named. But yeah, man, that's pretty much it for this video, man. Me ranking uh Eminem albums, man. I really had a lot of fun doing this, man. I've been meaning to get to Eminem, but here recently I've been on the Eminem kick, so I decided to take our opportunity to go ahead and talk about some of these records and rank them to where how I feel they are from worst to best and so forth. So I hope you all enjoyed this video, and if you're watching this video, hey, leave a comment and let me know whether you agree with my ranking or not, or you could make a list in the comment section and tell me where you would rank these albums yourself, because everybody's not the same. Some of you may think that Revival was his greatest record so far. I mean, hey, if that's the way you think, then hey, that's you. But just let me know in the comment sections, man. Leave a list of how you would rank these albums. And yes, I hope you all enjoyed this video, and I look forward to more videos like this, man. There's a lot of bands and artists that I could do these album rankings about, man. But now let me clarify something though before I go, man. I'm gonna tell you right now, Eminem is one of my favorite MCs. I still listen to him. Uh, I think lyrically, from a lyrical standpoint, I think Eminem is still dope in some regards. But the thing that really bothers me about his recent output is that it's just really inconsistent. And then there's moments where I feel like he's trying to like cater towards more the modern rap styles, and to me, Eminem doesn't have to do that, man. Eminem is at a point where he's pretty much cemented his legacy, and he can just be Eminem. I mean, it's nothing wrong with him wanting to update his sound and do something different, but I just feel that he's at a point where he doesn't have to do that. And I think that if he just honed in on these records and just found like a not like a niche, but if he just kind of stuck and focused on a certain thing when he's making these records and not try to deviate from it and do something that's more radio accessible or something, he just kind of honed in on it, I think that we could get a lot more solid records from Eminem in this decade, and maybe it would sort of bring back a little bit more of the respect from like the older fans who were down with him since Slim Shady LP or maybe before. That's just my biggest issue with these recent releases, man. They're just really too inconsistent, man, and they have the potential to be really solid records. I don't know if he's gonna do anything that's gonna be better than the classic records he put out back in the day, but he has the potential to make some solid records that could fare a lot better with fans. So that's why I wanted to make this video, and I also wanted to show people that hey, you don't have to be a stan. It's all right to be constructively critical of your favorite artist's records, man. Because I will admit, man, there's a lot of Eminem stans out there that think that everything that he does is just great and that he can do no wrong, man. But listen, he's one of my favorite MCs of all time, always will be. But I'm not gonna sit here and just agree and be a yes man that yeah, everything he's doing is dope. Nah, I mean, don't get me wrong. Going back and listening to a lot of these albums, which I had to do because I don't really touch this particular era of Eminem that much. I had to really kind of listen to these records a lot more. There were some things that I picked up on that I did like about the records, man. But it is what it is, man. Just giving you my honest opinion about it. But this video's going on long enough. So once again, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys enjoying all the other content that I'm putting out. I'm really going hard on these videos, really trying to stay consistent with it and do my best to bring you guys some good episodes and good shows and so forth. But with all that said and done, I hope everybody has a blessed day. Hope everybody has a blessed week. And as always, love, peace, and music. Peace out.